I am Draco Self-Important, and I think you should listen to me. We're still rambling about my ex-wife. Let me read disclaimer. I have a good working relationship with her, co-parenting. We have a reasonable relationship. I'm gonna try to take as much ownership of my own shit as possible, but I'm gonna talk some shit. Please don't hold that against her. Um, you can hold shit against me. I don't care. Uh, I'm volunteering to put this shit out on the internet, and that's also why I'm not using people's names because I'm pretty fucking candid and I don't use my name, but literally, I'm easy to find. Um, Again, being sued by the Satanic Temple, all my shit is public. Um, so I took a break and ate some french fries and made a TikTok about it. If you want to see my TikTok, it is draco.self underscore important because TikTok is annoying about punctuation. But that's me. And, I haven't posted much. But hey, by all means, go look at my three interesting, maybe four interesting TikToks. No, maybe three of them are interesting. um, I'm building there like I am here, but it's easier for me to do long form content than it is short form. But I've been watching a lot more stand up recently, which is kind of getting me back into my roots. And so I'm coming up with some other shorter things, but I don't do a 30-second bit. And I like the stand up that I like is not a 30-second bit. I want 2 minutes of wind up before, I want to have a whole background. I want to be really invested before you get to the joke, you know? Um, so it's short-ish form content because I'm exceeding 3 minutes most of the time. I talk a lot. It's just how I fucking first grade report card talks too much. That was the biggest complaint because I wouldn't shut the fuck up. If you were quiet for 3 seconds, I was turning around talking to someone. You had to constantly keep me paying attention to you, and yet somehow no one thought that I might have had an issue. And then when I finally was like, "Hi, I have an issue," I just got told I was too smart to have an issue. That's not how it works. Uh, you can be smart and ADHD, autistic, etc., etc., neurodivergency, etc. So anyway, I was talking about after the ex-wife and I had first moved in together, her and my two oldest. Um, the youngest didn't exist yet because she was a part of that one. We'll get there. Um, and we were, essentially love bombing the shit out of each other. I don't know that either of us was doing it intentionally because I know I wasn't, so I don't assume necessarily that she was. We were both 27, 28. She's maybe a year younger than me. I think literally 11 months younger than me. Um, so, we're both sub 30, both getting divorced for a second time because we're both fucking idiots. And within the first year of us living together, and I know this because we moved from that place, so that's, because I'm real bad with timelines, but we got into some sort of big ass fight, and her response to this was to grab her gun case, guns in, and take it for the door and be like, "Fine, you don't love me, whatever, whatever." I legit all of these fights that are permanently seared into my head. I don't know what we were fighting about, any of them. Save the one down the line about the alcohol, but that's ingrained into the fight itself, so that's kind of obvious. Um, but she has gun case in hand, and she's going for the door, and so she was small, but she was stronger than she looked. Um, testosterone's a hell of a drug, natural or not. Um, and I got a sudden burst of adrenaline sort of a situation, and I pinned her up against the wall, pulled the gun case out of her hand, and went, "Now you can fucking leave." Because I was not going to let her leave with a weapon because I knew what the implication was, and this was the first time she had ever done this, so I had no reason to believe that it wasn't genuine. Um, and that was the first time that the relationship got physical. And I literally I held her to get the gun away from her and then sent her on her way. I didn't hit her, I didn't shove her. Other than that, I didn't nothing. It was literally give me the fucking gun, you fucking asshole. Fine, if you want to go throw a fit, go throw a fit now. But I'm not gonna let your drunk ass go at Um. So in that same apartment, so still within the first year, there was a point at which we were arguing. We had just got home from work. We bought a six pack because it was the spring, and they had come out with the Sam Adams cherry wheat, which is one of my favorite seasonals. It's really tasty. I'm a fan. But I'd barely cracked the shit open. And we were arguing about something, and she was accusing me of being drunk, and I'm like, and she knocked the bottle out of my hand, and she claims that she expected it to be empty or near empty or whatever, but she splashed beer all over the fucking living room in the process of this. And I'm like, yeah, I wasn't drunk. All of my beer is there. It wasn't in me. There it all fucking is. Um, like, I was not threatening anyone at that point. I was just being sassy, to the best of my knowledge. She apologized after. I did not apologize for pinning her up against the wall and taking the fucking gun out of her hand, because what the fuck else was I supposed to do? I didn't hurt her. I did the right thing as far as I'm concerned. Are you going to let someone suicidal leave the house with a gun? That sounds like a great idea. Um, so then we move into a different place, and our fighting just gets ridiculous, and we both start drinking entirely too much. Literally, as soon as we would get home, we'd crack open the box of wine and just fucking toasted the entire time. Weekends, wake up in the morning, start Jesus Christ. And there was a point at which it was shortly after her birthday. Her dad has given us a fuck ton of money. We spent it on booze. And she comes down the stairs, and I am we gotten into a big ass argument, and it dawned on me in that moment that oh god, it's because we're always drunk. This is the issue. It's we can't do this anymore. And I tried to be we can't do this anymore, and she was just not and she started she comes down the stairs to see me pouring hundreds of dollars of booze down the drain. Of course, this is an issue. And she flips the fuck out and comes up to me in the kitchen, and I'm standing pouring things into the sink, and she flips me around. Excuse me. And she puts her hand on my throat, choking me, screaming, "You don't care about me, that's my birthday present," just having a complete and total fit. Now, mind you, in the process of her flipping me around, spilled booze on the ground, and I pushed her off of me, and she slips and falls down onto her front, and pretty sure cracks a rib. She did not go to the hospital. Going to the hospital would have entailed explaining what happened. Um, at this point, she gets up. I resume pouring the shit down the drain. Um, she storms up the stairs. I grab the 6-pack from the fridge because we'd also bought some fancy beer, and I take it out onto the deck, and I start trying to break the beer bottles on the, I'm pretty sure, pine railing of the porch. Like the little side porch, even, not even like the full fucking deck in the back of the house. Um, and boy, howdy, are these bottles never gonna break. My ass is not strong enough to swing a beer bottle on damn near anything to get it to break. Those things are strong, and I was not at that point. Now I might be able to, but like then, ain't no fucking way. Um, and so I'm banging, and it's making a huge racket. And we live at the top of a big ass valley. And so as I'm doing this, it's echoing through the valley, and so the neighbors think it's gunshots. So, um, I am, trying to break these beer bottles. The wife comes downstairs yet again, gun case in hand, as I'm on the porch. And so she tries to come past me, and so I see her with the gun case in her hand, and I stand, at the top of the stairs of the porch, like so that she can't get past me. And so her response to this is to go, woof, and launch me the fuck off the porch. I landed flat on my fucking back with my feet minimally 3 feet away from that fucking porch. And we're talking something that was only like 3 feet off the fucking ground. Like, she launched my ass to get me the fuck out of the way because she didn't give a shit. And so then she gets in the car. She is drunk at this point, backs the car up. We have a split driveway, drives directly into the tree in the fucking middle. Real fucking slow, like left a small dent in the bark of the tree. Didn't even, like the car, you couldn't even tell. But then she gets out of the car and she's standing there and she's fiddling with the fucking gun, like standing at the front seat of the car. And then the cops show up. And so, of course, in any, abusive situation, everybody, you're like, nope, nope, nothing happened, nothing, la 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 la. Meanwhile, I just got fucking choked. And then launched off the fucking porch because I tried to get her not to kill herself. But I'm a dumbass, and I lied my fucking face off about it. And then she also lies, and in the process of this, because they think this is pre-transition for both of us, they put her in handcuffs. They do not put me in handcuffs when we both say that nobody hit anybody, and I'm like, no, the gunshot sounds were me banging these beer bottles off the banister. We've been fighting because we've been drinking. Like, I explained everything else about the evening except the choking and the throwing me off the porch part. And so then, despite the laws in Washington saying otherwise, they just uncuffed her and sent her back in the house. Now, little foreshadowing here. I know for a fact that in a domestic violence situation like that, they're supposed to take somebody into custody, or at least remove them from the situation, but generally they just take you into custody and let the courts figure it out. And usually they'll put at least a 30-day protection order in place, and no contact order usually. Yeah, we'll get there to how I know that. Oh my God, how different my life would have been if they would have arrested her. They found her fiddling with the fucking gun. In the police report, it says that the barrel of the gun is not warm. They did not feel the engine of the car to see if that was warm. The car that she was nobody bothered to check whether or not she'd been driving. Not to mention, are you supposed to be drunk playing with guns? I don't know what the gun laws are, but that certainly doesn't seem. And then, as it turned out, they confiscated the guns, right? She was not supposed to have them because of a previous DV4 conviction in another state, which I knew about said conviction. I got told a story that in retrospect seems really fucking suspect, that like all of the blame got put on the other person, and I'm like, having lived with you for the better part of a decade, I don't know, like, and especially you being a more immature and on drugs version of yourself, oh, that doesn't seem. No, this makes a whole lot of other things about your existence make a whole lot more sense. But yeah. So they did not give the guns back because, yeah, like apparently she could have had like sold them to someone else or whatever. And she was just like, no, just take them. And I was like, why the fuck did you have them if you weren't? I thought this was like not a big, like, what? And then she tried to be like, oh, I didn't know. I don't think that's true. So I then went to work with this person because we had been working together this entire time. And all of our coworkers who thought, one, either they didn't realize we were a couple because we were very good at maintaining professionalism at work, or they knew us well enough to know that we were, and they thought that we were the most adorable couple in the world and that she was the nicest person to ever walk the face of the earth. And then I had to go into work knowing that she had fucking choked me the night before. At a time when, like, if we were to have that same encounter now, like, yeah, I'm going to be at a physical advantage. Yes, absolutely. Because the tables are turned, and then some, because I got way bigger and she got even smaller, and her muscle mass, like, I watched her go from I can bench you to sweet Jesus, can you open this jar in like a year. Like, because she went from slinging boxes in a warehouse to uh, working fast food on estrogen, and to eventually stay at home mom, like, which is less strenuous than fast food. It's like a smaller version because you only have to cook the meal once and you only have to clean up after a couple of people. Yeah. And you like those people. It's different. Not to say that it isn't work. Oh, it's work. It's just I'd rather do that than fast food. If I'm picking. If I'm picking, I don't want to do food service of any kind. The point at which uh, the kids can like make a meal is the best. When I could afford Dinnerly or HelloFresh or whatever, like showing the kids how to like read a recipe and make, oh God, please God feed us. Um, I did not get prepared for such things. I didn't get taught how to cook. I want my kids to go out into the world and be confident. I would rather have them do it when I'm here going, no, that's not how you curl your fingers under. You're going to chop off your goddamn fingertips. Like, if you know how to use a chef's knife well, you're solid, but I didn't learn that until I was in my 30s. So, like, the fact that my kids learned it before they were in their teens makes me feel pretty chill. The baby still has not learned this. She's not old enough. I say baby. She's in elementary school. But she's not old enough for me to be like, here's a chef's knife, honey. Like, we'll get there. But, like, yeah. I also suffer from those who can't do teach in the cooking sphere because I watched an absolute metric fuck ton of cooking shows throughout my life and still do. I love it. I can explain to you how to do a lot of things that I can't actually execute. I'm way better at cooking than I used to be. I'm getting better at the execution, but like, I don't practice enough acting. No. Um, yeah. So I'm going to work feeling like the most shame that I have ever felt up to that point. Like, I'm just like, I feel like the biggest hypocrite in the world. I always said, like, oh, if anybody ever put their hands on me, I'd leave. But I'm financially fucked. There's nowhere for me to go, for one. Like, we're living in a place that's owned by friends where they're charging us less than their mortgage just because they couldn't find anyone else to rent it to. They know we can't afford to pay. Like, like we're doing them the favor of paying some of it, but like, oh damn, like they were definitely getting the short end of the stick on that one. Um, so it's like, with that being like with kids and like I just and as you always do, you're like, but they didn't mean it. And like, I never got a real apology. Like, never. Like, never, never. Like, not even just like in the moment. Like, never got an actual apology. In fact, the shit comes up later. Um, so after this, we have the genius idea that what we need to do is have a child. I think after this, she started to like do that I'm gonna be on my best behavior shit. I really don't know. A lot of this period for me is like I have a lot of like boop about my memory because there's a lot of shit that I just like it's not there. Um and it's like as vivid and gross as the stuff that is there is, I wonder like I wonder if the stuff that isn't is worse or like I can't imagine it could be like that like worse way but like worse than most of the mundane shit or like if my brain just didn't have room for the shit that wasn't so bad or like I don't know it's ugh. um so I get pregnant and within like 8 weeks I lose that which is like it's sad, but it's like that like barely had a chance to be anything. Clearly, there was something very wrong. Like we're probably like that was probably chill to not have that go. Um, but then I get pregnant again right away, um, and things are like pretty quickly not chill, and like there's lots of tests and like she's not growing, and I made it to 16 weeks, and boy, was she not the size of a 16-week. And I talked about that before. Um, so, that's just fucking devastating. Um, and so, like, at this point, we find out we have to move because our friends are moving back. And so then we have to go through this huge fucking rigmarole, and it's just, like, the worst. And so this whole time we're like mourning the loss of this baby, but also like, okay, I think we're ready to do this again. And so we do. And so the beginning of that fucking pregnancy was a nightmare because it was like, I, no joke, thought I was losing that baby. Like, I expected to go into that appointment to have them confirm that there was nothing. And then she was like, there's a heartbeat. And I'm like, there's a what now? So that was a pleasant surprise. Um, but, oh my God, my cat is insane. Um, so, somewhere in the process of this, um, between while we were still living in the other place before I got pregnant the first time even um, she had gotten fired from our collective job for throwing a big giant baby fit, and then when called into the boss's office, doubling down on the big giant baby fit. She then ended up working at like fucking Radio Shack part time for like well over a year before finding like a full time actual job with insurance and shit. It was a nightmare, and I was pissed for a long time because I'm like, boy, howdy, was that entirely your fucking fault. Like, you didn't do shit to try to make that better. You threw a big giant baby fit over shit that you knew, like, yeah, it sucks, but now I'm here still doing all that with that, like, to support your ass while you don't have to do it. Like, you know, it would have been one thing if we were both like, fuck it, let's walk out. But no, she just threw a big giant baby fit, got her ass fired, and I still had to go there every fucking day for like another 5 fucking years or something. It was goddamn ridiculous. And I was angry for a solid fucking year. Like, I was so mad because I'm like, oh my god, our life is so fucked up right now. And it is all your fucking fault. Yeah. The only thing I ever got fired from was a temp job, yo. Like, and that was just because I kept calling out because I didn't give a shit because it was a temp job and I was 19. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. Oh my god, these cats are such idiots. So, we end up moving into another place. And I get pregnant again. And yay, it's an actual baby. And then I have that baby. Hooray. Um, and things are pretty chill at first. Then her depression starts to go bananas. Like, the way that she exhibited it at the time was to be an absolute piece of shit to everyone around her. She was sad, and it needed to be everybody else's problem, basically. And like, it got to the point, you know, because I was like, go to therapy, and she would go like once and then be like, I can't, and I'd be like, you know, meds, and then she'd try one thing and then not try it. Like, she was not taking advantage of the healthcare that she had available or anything else at all to try to manage her mood. And it was everyone's fucking problem. She, like, it literally, it felt like she was dying and trying to take us all down with her. Like, and I got to the point that I was like, I don't have any fucking empathy for you anymore because you won't help yourself and you're killing all of us. Like, you see us all fucking dying about it and you just keep going. Like, stop. And after this, she apparently had a crying conversation with herself in the shower, where she was like, oh shit, I am having some realizations. And so, like, we went to a film festival where there was some trans porn involved, and we were both like, hey. And yeah, like, I don't know, 10 days later, was like, hey, are you like the girl? And she said yes, and that's literally how she came out. Is I was like, I feel like you need to tell me something. Are you a girl? I feel like I've told this story already. Maybe I need to go back and rewatch. At any rate, we're going to pause here because it's going to do the thing again soon. And I feel like this is a good place to pick up because the next part of the story should probably be told in its entirety anyway. So, I love you. Be safe. Make good choices. I'll be back.